Hello and welcome to episode 214 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa and I'm joined by Matthew Figuera.
We run a tight ship here. With
we do run a tight ship. We do. We have to work. I'm running on inverter power.
Thank goodness.
It's the future.
Yeah,
it is the future. I'm keenly watching how much battery power I have left, just in case. It would be real wild if we just died. Yeah. Still looking good. We still got like 4 hours, so we might just make it.
Except I'm out in an hour 42. So we gotta keep this
I did not
tight.
know that. Okay, well, we've got to keep this tight enough that we can hit save right at the end.
At 10 a.m. We can do it. We've got plenty of time. So
this is what happens when corruption. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to unpack. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, not entirely sure where I was going with that.
We are witnessing the product of no power.
Yeah,
but no power would mean people in power. We can go deep.
People in power with no
metaphors
power.
and puns. We can dig this hole as deep as we want. Yeah.
Oh
so
my God.
Things are tight, but we're gonna finish up this episode. By the time you're listening to this, it won't be Monday morning for reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an embargo we have to abide by, so the episode, if you're listening to this, you would have known.
Welcome.
Is a bit late, but that's fine. It's still on the same day. It's still a Monday, so it's still technically on time, I would say.
But we're blaming the delay on Eskom as well. And saying,
of course we can, yeah.
We couldn't publish it in the morning.
If they can delay, if they can blame no power on things that are completely unrelated, then so can we. This is the power we have. What do they think about it now? Yeah, exactly.
How the turntables. Let's go.
Yeah, how the turntables. It's been a good week. I'm still enjoying the sort of like rainy weather we've been having. It was far less rainy as well this week. We got a good bouts of sun, but without the scorching heat that is associated with that often. So
yeah. It's been
it's a good time.
Been a bit too rainy for my liking. I do like the rain, but come on, man! It's the last month of summer. We're gonna get into autumn, and come on. Although
you just want that 30-degree weather.
Yeah, so I can go swim.
Oh dear God, no! Why? What, do you want to yeet yourself into your pool? Like, what's going on here?
It's good, man. It's nice.
I mean, you can do that now. Like,
no, it's not the same. It's terrible.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
It's just it doesn't hit as hard. Okay.
If my clothes aren't sticking to me with tons of sweat, what's the point even?
Speaking of clothes sticking, see you at Padel later.
Yeah, I mean, we would have played Padel by this time. First time we're playing Padel. I'm very excited.
I can confirm Alessandro is terrible at Padel. Yes. Can't get a rally going. I just keep hitting the ball and he hits it out of the court.
What are you talking about? I won the match. I beat you and Frank. So,
okay, cool. Frank.
I mean, Frank came with his experience and clearly had none.
Frank's MMR is 2.3. Okay, I'm 1.5.
That app is so wild. It is so cool and so strange at the same time. Like, so it's this app called, what's it? Playomic?
It's Playtomic, not Playtomic.
Is it Playtomic? I keep wanting to say Playtonic because that's the game developer who made Ukulele.
Playtomic.
Playtomic. So nearly the same. Yeah, that's a great Hi-Fi Rush background. Where'd you get that one?
I just started off the internet.
Perks of the job, hey?
Yeah.
So this app, like, we both went through the sign-up process. It kind of like asks you some basic questions like, have you played Padel before? Have you taken Padel lessons before? Which is quite a strange question.
Padel's
and then
big.
It's like, how many racket sports have you played in the past like X number of years and this and that? And then it gives you like a base MMR score.
Yeah.
And the way I understand it is that when you play matches that are marked as competitive, like the one we're playing, when you upload your score, your MMR goes up or down, effectively according to the MMR of the players you were playing against. So I was I was showing this to someone at work who's very much in the video game space and, has the lingo, so to speak. Yeah. And he looked at this and he looked at Frank's MMR, which is like 2 point something, and all of ours, which is like 1.1 or 1.2. And he's like, is your friend farming you for MMR? And I was like, you know what? I think he is.
Now that you say it. I mean.
We are the Smurf accounts. Well, that would make him a Smurf account. He's playing with low MMR people. But so,
But it is.
Thank you, Frank, for just farming MMR off these newbies.
It is amazing.
And making us pay for it.
Yeah, we're paying for our demands. But it is amazing that like gamification has reached. I mean, I don't know if this has existed elsewhere in, traditional tennis or whatever other sports are. But padel's big enough in South Africa and Johannesburg and in Cape Town, I believe, that this app is here. Lots of people are playing padel. I mean, I don't know if we've spoken about it before. It's just like every second person. Like when I bump into someone I haven't seen for a long time, we talk like, "Oh, how are things going? Oh, do you play padel?" I'm like,
9 times out of 10, they're holding a paddle racket in their hand.
How did this happen? But it is quite cool that it's been gamified. That if you're big into it, there is a ranking system. Can I get big into paddle? Hit the matchmaking button. Rock up at the court and have an opponent waiting for me, just like a game. That's what I want to know.
The app is pretty dope though, but like you said, I think you can do that because I was looking at the app and there's like a search functionality for games. So I guess you can be like, I'm at this club and I want to search for games. And if there's people who are like, well, we're looking for opponents, there's 2 of us and we're looking, and then you like, oh, your MMR is similar or matches, and it's like, cool, yeah, let's play.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. Like, and then it's all centralized in an app like that is pretty neat. Is it maybe way too much for just a racket sport? Maybe. I don't know. 100%. I go play squash pretty regularly, and all we have to do is like log onto a really shitty ass booking system, and that's it.
Well, the squash, can't you use Platonic for squash? Is
it just said tennis and paddle. I think the club has to like sign up to Platonic to get support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Virgin Active with their squash courts, at least the one I go to, signed up to a system that they've been part of for like 2 decades, and the website feels 2 decades old. It's so bad. So yeah. Nice. But I'm actually playing squash on Monday, so would have played 2 racket sports within 48 hours.
Yeah, I'm surprised your MMR is not higher, because you're like, I play a racket sport, play some squash. But how did you get 1.2? Because I'm 1.5.
I have no idea. I just answered the questions, and that's what it gave me.
Me too. And it's just determined that I am higher than you. So thank you, Platonic. Can't believe this.
What did you put your fitness level as?
Pretty fit.
So did you, because there was like the 2 higher ones were good and excellent. Did you go excellent?
I think I did excellent. I mean,
that's probably why I put good.
I'm a pretty fit dude. I can run.
You can run. Oh, we'll see. We'll see if you can dodge a paddle racket. Yeah.
I know it's not quite the same.
When you do your bullshit shots where you knock a ball out of the actual fucking court and it's legal, yeah, you'll see.
We'll see. Okay,
cool. You'll see these hands. You'll see these paddle rackets.
Well, we'll be playing that later, so see you later.
I'm very keen. I foresee it being a complete shit show, considering like you, me, and Shani have never played.
I've played once,
but I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really fun. Frank's going to be like Bowser in Bowser's Castle, just hitting paddle balls.
Yeah, why do we play
be Mario
1v3?
Yeah, exactly.
Frank wants I buy him his work for it. Yeah, but I'm keen. My goodness.
Speaking of things that are also games, video games.
Nice. Oh, what a segue.
Oh, nailed it. Every week.
This guy's been practicing.
Where do I find this talent? Absolute raw talent.
Don't know.
Continues to be a busy release period. Let's start with the reason that we are putting out this episode late. It's a brand new release right out here on these streets. Matthew Figueroa has been investigating. We sent him as a reporter. He's come back from Russia with news of
actual news.
Atomic Heart.
My goodness, I'm just trying to get the footage up here.
A very Bioshock looking, not Bioshock game apparently. according to the developer. But I will forever look at this and be like, this is Russian Bioshock, because that's what it looks like.
I mean,
maybe it isn't, because maybe it's not an immersive sim. Maybe it's just a flat-out action-adventure game. And maybe that's why it's not Bioshock. I don't know.
So I'm just trying to get the footage up here. I've been
trying for so long to like give you time.
There we go. Well, you threw me off guard here, because I thought we were going to talk about that other wizard game.
No, we're talking about this wizard game.
Just to set the stage settings. Yeah, there is there are question marks around this game, because I think when it was first revealed, I started hearing like, oh, but it's a game made by Russian studios, been funded by the Russian government. And then when
this game was announced ages ago, by the way.
Yeah, 2017, I think. So it was a long time ago.
ago.
So just going into the game, I tried looking up. There's no solid confirmation. Okay, there's a lot of questions around the studio, but that's not the point. This game, Atomic Heart, takes place. I think it's based in 1955. It's set in an alternate Soviet Union state, so to speak, in a facility called 3826, which
rolls off the tongue.
It just rolls off the tongue. My understanding is that this is just like a little tucked away community that does science research, or something along those lines. I've only put in a couple of hours. But the reason we all feel that this is like Bioshock, because like Bioshock had its plasmids and, was set in an alternate 1920s, 1930s underwater world, or
and in like a secluded city. Location where like science could go rampant.
A lot of very similar parallels here. But like Bioshock had its plasmids, this game has its technology is called polymer, which some scientists discovered, and essentially the basics of it is you can learn an entire university curriculum with this technology just by taking I don't know what it's like. You for lack of a better description, you can transfer it from a device to your body. Okay,
that sounds sick. Would have been helpful.
Which is very, very cool premise. That it feels very Bioshocky, even just in the setup, because as most games go, things are all peachy until they're not.
It is interesting watching this footage. Like, it looks very Bioshocky, and it's
like Bioshock Infinite, right?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Bioshock Infinite. Just like the scroll, it's like walk through the city and see the little parts of what makes it tick before it goes.
Are you ready to have your mind blown? I'm on a floating city.
Of course.
Not a word of a lie. Okay, the game doesn't take place, you're not here for long. But needless to say, so the basic premise of the game is that there's a big, quote unquote update happening, a big reveal. There's polymers being taken to the next level. But unfortunately, things go haywire and the robots turn on humans. Because another aspect of this game is that manual labor has been taken away from humanity for good reasons, because robots have been invented and they do all the, again, quote unquote, meaningless labor, leaving humanity or leaving this community to focus on, just chilling, doing arts and science, that sort of thing. But the robots turn on the humans, and hard cut to you. You are just your character. His name is P3. He's got a connection to the scientists, which I haven't discovered yet, but it seems that you owe the scientist your life, or he's done something big for you that you're kind of devoted to him, because the robots go haywire and it's on you to help figure out what the hell's going on. And that involves just running and shooting a lot of things. But yeah,
these robots are very creepy looking.
Very creepy.
Very creepy.
But I will say, like, there's definitely a Bioshock feel to it. So I just want to scrub through the footage so you can actually see some action, because you'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, audio listeners, you're missing out. Just imagine a modern day Bioshock and you're there. Oops, that's not the right scene.
Well, it would be sort of similar time as Bioshock Infinite, I guess.
Yeah. It feels very similar, but I think what I want to praise this game about first out the gate is the visually. It is gorgeous. I think it looks great.
It looks really good.
And the art direction is just, it's phenomenal. Like, so I know I'm cutting through the footage here, but there was one moment here when you walk into the one building and you just, it wasn't this one, but there's one building you walk into, and I mean, even just look at this, the city, it's just like beautifully designed. It looks great.
A really good like sense of place in this like alternate universe. Yeah, very cool.
So I can't give the game enough praise on that front. So I'm very distracted. But yeah, in terms of gameplay, it's going to draw a lot of the Bioshock comparisons because you have a glove called. It's funny because it's called Chols, like it's written Chols, but they pronounce the glove as Cholless. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
And this glove gives you certain abilities. Like, for example, are you ready? Your first ability is you can send out a shock from your glove. Very much like Bioshock.
Cool. Just like the first Bioshock, I could electrocute people. Okay.
You can electrocute people, but it's also, this glove acts as a vehicle for all things you do in this game, at least in my opening hours. So like when I heal, for example, I hold up a pod to my glove and I've got these little nano wires that like suck health out of it. So it like serves as the foundation for the game.
So they're kind of trying to make it very clear that it's not magic, it is just science.
It's not magic. This is 100% it's science. I guess that's a key difference. And yeah, I've accessed a skill tree. I haven't unlocked a lot, but I know that I will get access to like telekinesis, to fire, to ice, that sort of thing. But yeah, in the opening hours, I'm quite impressed with the game. It kind of is what I expected, but not that that's a bad thing. And yeah, I'm very, very, very curious to see where the story goes.
How's the combat so far? Because I know from trailers, there seemed to be a very big emphasis on actually melee combat as opposed to ranged gun combat.
I also, in what I've read up in the game, I remember one of the features that, one of the on the box things, for lack of a better description, is like use your resources carefully, because
like
resources
a survival
are limited.
horror almost.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, okay, I must use my melee weapons more, whatever. But I'm currently running around with a pistol and a shotgun, and I'm not like armed to the teeth, but I've got enough ammo that I can just use my guns if I want to. And furthermore, you can craft ammo if you have the resources.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Do they encourage you to do things like shock an enemy and then hit it with a wrench?
I mean, it's close. You know that because you're fighting robots, they are weak to shock damage. And I know that when I unlock the reason I'd unlock the fire perk is because organic enemies, which I haven't encountered yet, will be weak to fire. So there's definitely that balancing of using the right tools for the job. But it is interesting that it said, use your resources carefully, and I feel that I haven't had that issue. Even so, there are vending machines throughout this world where you can, upgrade your character, craft things, upgrade your weapons, craft weapons. You're right. There's an emphasis in melee weapons because I can craft up to 3 at the moment. Like I don't have resources for the rest, but I can do that if I want to focus on that. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just lost my train of thought.
There's melee weapons. You can craft them. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Jason Eccles in the game?
I don't know. I'm very curious for when you play the game because, so for those of you who don't know, about a week ago or this week, a trailer dropped for Atomic Heart with good guy Jensen Eccles, who you'll all recognize.
Jensen Eccles, sorry. Yeah.
You'll all recognize from either Supernatural or The Boys.
Yeah.
And he's got a very distinct sounding voice. And I think because that trailer's out in the wild, listening to my character P3, to me, it sounds like him. I don't know if that's just me, putting that on myself, but it sounds like him. But there's been no actual confirmation. It would be pretty cool if it is him.
This could be some interesting Boys canon, because maybe while he was a prisoner in Russia, they forced him to voice a character in a Russian game.
But it also just, funny enough, in Soldier Boy, in The Boys, as Soldier Boy, he's a bit of a dick. P3 also is like very, very cocky, arrogant, bit of a dick. So
I was going to ask, because he just like survived this gigantic elevator fall if you've just watching the footage. And the first thing he did was light a cigarette and take one gigantic drag that had finished the cigarette. Like, what? Is this Duke Nukem? Like, what's going on?
The opening of this game is... It's like 0 to 1,000. It starts off a bit slow, and then you're just moving from one scene to the next, witnessing shit go down as you're watching.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, it's an interesting look. I know we pointing fingers saying like it's very BioShock Infinite, and like, is that a good or bad thing?
To be fair, we haven't had one of those in a long time.
No, yeah, that's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I love the BioShock franchise. I'm very down for more games like that. So I've enjoyed my opening hours with this game, and I do want to know like where it goes story-wise and what other cool things am I going to unlock and do.
It really does look good. Like, this
visually,
it's really good.
It's phenomenal. Like I don't know how big this team is, but man, like kudos to all the design people who...
I do remember that was the thing that stuck out when it was, even in 2017 when it was first like announced. Like when it was announced, it was like, oh, this is not coming to these consoles. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like it just looked way too good to come to old consoles. I think this is only a new gen release, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make sense to me. It's...
Wow, I just Googled Atomic without the O and no heart, so it very much knew what I was looking for.
Oh, nice.
I will. No, it is coming to old consoles. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well,
last thing I'll say is that looting in this game is real fun. Look at this. So you hold down a button and check drawers.
Little tendrils look for things.
Yeah, but look how the drawers all open, and then you just suck everything to you.
Oh, they like pulsate when they're near things that can be opened.
It's very
that's
cool.
Pretty cool.
That's
like using force powers to loot things.
It's very satisfying. It's like how if you open all the drawers. But yeah,
that makes me wonder, why doesn't Cal Kestis use the force when looting things?
Just to loot.
Fallen Order, yeah. He gets his robot to do it. That seems stupid.
What a waste.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely keep chipping away at this over the next couple of weeks. I think I've looked
I'm keen to start it.
They say so now this is also with a pinch of salt. The developers say like, oh, the playtime will be like around 25 hours, and that's without looking for sort of quote unquote mainlining. I don't know if there's an open world or semi open world hub that I'll get to.
I would say sub 20 then.
I'm also like
terms.
I don't know. A lot of developers tend to like be very confident.
And also they're careful because nowadays people want really long games. So even if a game isn't like super, super long, people are like when Forspoken could be completed in like 12, 13 hours, people are like, that's so short. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. That seems like a pretty normal thing. Maybe not for an open world RPG, but if this was like 12, 13 hours, it'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what I would expect something like this to be.
I think it'll be 15 to 20 hours, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, 25 seems a bit long for an experience like this.
Because the pace at which the environments I've gone through, all the not narration, the narrative, the characters talking, the story unfolding, I'm like, that is quite a substantial chunk to follow or quite a thing to do for 20 to 25 hours. But hey, I've been proven wrong before. When is a very, very left field example, when Final Fantasy VII Remake put out that demo, I was like, there's no way he's going to keep this up for the whole game. And they did.
They did.
You never know. But yeah, that's Atomic Heart. It should be out, if you're listening to this on the Monday, I think it's out tomorrow on the Tuesday. It's the 21st of April, if I'm not mistaken. And as you said earlier, it will be on...
You said April. It's 21st of February.
My bad. I'm living in the future.
Yeah, it is Tuesday. So what's weird is that the engine is described as Unreal Engine 5 and 4. So which is it? Weird. Anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm keen to give it a go. have a bit of a different type of game to play. We have also been playing, well, I don't know if you have, but I've been playing a lot more Hogwarts Legacy.
I've been playing, but I have not finished it like you have.
I'm done with it now.
Done it. What did you think? Was it magical?
No.
Sure.
It's not a bad game. It's just not a good one, I don't think. I think we spoke about this a little bit last week, but it's a game that really captures the aesthetic and feeling of the property, the like Harry Potter, Potterverse stuff. Like it looks the part all the time, and it's got all these sort of callbacks that you'd expect. Like I think last week we spoke briefly about the intro, but like you do the whole sorting hat ceremony, you get to choose your house, you get to see your dorms, this and that. You get to attend all your classes, so you partake in duels in Defense Against the Dark Arts, or you pull out a screaming mandrake from a pot in herbology. Like all the little moments from the films that you like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, I remember that. That's pretty fun that I get to experience that again. Those are all there, and they're done really well, I think. They will absolutely put a smile on your face if you are well invested into this universe, and that's kind of what you want to see. I think where it all starts to break down for me is just pretty much everything else. I think it's an extremely bland open world. When you're not exploring Hogwarts Castle, which is phenomenal, like that castle and its design and its intricacies is just really, really good, really fun to explore and like pick apart. You go out of those grounds and you're kind of left with Hogsmeade as another big city to kind of explore, and that's just a hub for merchants, really. There's not much else going on there. And then there's these little villages interspersed around the really big map, and the rest is just like open fields and forests. And it's got all the things that you would expect from a modern open world, like enemy camps to clear out. You've got little side activities like finding telescopes for your astronomy class, or finding places to look for constellations for your astronomy class. You've got little Merlin puzzle trials that you actually have to do to extend your inventory size, which is obscene to me because you start with 20 slots for all of your gear, and you fill that up almost immediately because the game is giving you so much gear all the time. So you have to like go and find these Merlin trials out in the wild, and they're just the same 2 or 3 puzzle templates repeated over and over and over again. So it's a lot of that stuff. It's like if you've played an open world game recently, if you played an Assassin's Creed recently, it's a lot of that, a lot of repetition just to kind of make things seem like there's a lot to do, when in fact the quality of the things that there is really low, I think. So it really depends. If you don't play a lot of open world games a lot of the time, and I suspect a lot of the people playing this game don't, because there's just so many people playing this game that I don't think it's the general, it's not the sort of person that buys every single open world game every year. It's the person who buys 1 or 2 games a year. Then, you probably won't find any issue with that because you'll have something to play for a very long time. I just think that there are so many ways that sort of content could have been made way more interesting to kind of like engage with. Then there's also just a bunch of systems that I just don't understand. Like, this game is designed around the idea of being a loot-based action game. So you get gear that has numerical values on it and rarities, and not unlike a Diablo or a Destiny. So there's this idea that you're trying to min-max everything, and that is supported by these mechanics where in the room of requirement, which is sort of like a little player hub that you can alter and make look however you want, there's a device there that allows you to uncover unidentified gear, which is insane to me in a single player game. Like, why would you have unidentified gear? Just tell me what the gear is. For example, like in Destiny, unidentified gear makes sense because you keep going back to the hub after each mission. And because it's a multiplayer server-based game, like they're constantly rolling new traits for gear, and that's why it's unidentified, because they make that decision when you choose to identify. In a single player game, it makes no sense. Doesn't matter, It just fucking showed to me. Anyway. You've also got like a loom where you can use like animal parts like feathers and stuff like that to upgrade your gear. And you've got this whole like vivarium where you keep animals. You literally go out into the world and you're like, cool, these poachers are caging animals and like stealing parts from them. How are we going to stop this? Well, I'm going to take this bag and I'm going to steal the animals first and put them in my own big cage. I don't care how big my own big cage. Also, that cage can only hold so many animals. So if I can't actually put any more in there, I can go to someone in Hogsmeade and just sell them. And I'm like, what?
It's a very.
What? Are we the bad guys? What's going on here?
Are we the bad guys? Am I the poacher?
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, how is this seen as a viable like alternative to anyway? So you have these animals there, and as you care for them, they give you supplies that they can then be used to upgrade your gear. So it's like this whole like system of like, cool, ideally you're looking for a way to min-max your gear because some gear has traits and you can upgrade those traits and you can add new traits to certain things and you can buy items that give you new traits to add to gear and whatever. And you're like, cool, I'm going to get really invested in like upgrading my favorite coats. And then you get a new coat and it's better. And you're just like, well, why did I spend all that time and money just doing that? Like there is no reason to engage with any of these systems because the game is so persistently giving you new gear and because it's also a single player game, so you're going to hit a ceiling. Like there is no end game multiplayer that you can like sit there and min-max your gear for. That's what Destiny and Diablo and games of this ilk do. That's the whole reason for these things. It's not for the single player component. When you play Diablo, you've got all this gear and systems to upgrade it, but you're hardly doing any of that until you're done. With the game, and you're just running dungeons over and over again and finding a way to make your player better because he's hit like a level cap. There's none of that in Harry Potter because it's a single player game. Like, I do not understand why these exist here at all. And what's frustrating about it is that you can't really sidestep them in some cases because some quest lines require you to do things that engage with these systems. So like some quests for professors force you to go and craft or certain potions or grow certain plants, which you can buy as well, but they're like really expensive to buy. And money seems like very hard to come by in this game, strangely enough. But then those sorts of actions have like real world timers attached to them as well, like growing a venomous tentacular, whatever, some plant that I can throw out to enemies that spits venom at them. It takes 15 minutes to grow, and cultivate. So
real life time.
I'm just like, what? Like, and the Wiggenweld potion, your basic healing potion, like that one is the easiest to craft. It takes 15 or 30 seconds
it's 30
to craft,
seconds.
And you can only do one at a time.
Yeah,
I'm just like, why? Like, what purpose does it serve to make me wait here 30? Because I'm not going to go away and come back
it's too
after
short.
30 seconds. Because I can only craft one. I can't batch them. If you can upgrade your station in the rumor requirement to have 3 cauldrons, so you can put 3 on at once. But the same thing. Am I going to go away for a minute and a half and come back? Or for 30 seconds and come back? Like, what you're doing is just making the player wait 30 seconds and just sit there and watch it. Like,
it's like real life potions.
It's so dumb. I just do not understand the purpose or the thinking behind something like that. Again, in a multiplayer game, the sort of artificial timers are there to kind of, when you're playing something like Destiny, you're going out on a mission and coming back to a hub. So every 30 minutes, you're returning to that place because you have to. You know what I mean? So it's fine if you put things on. I don't think there's any sort of time-based crafting in Destiny, but it would make sense if you're waiting for something. You're like, cool, I'm going to go finish this strike and come back. Harry Potter, it's like, do I really want to come back to the room requirement every 30 minutes? Like, I'm out here doing missions, exploring the open world. Like, it clashes so much with, hey, you should be going out and doing things that are fun or just picking apart this world. But also, there's this room you should probably fast travel to, like, all the time. Often.
Yeah.
Like, it's just silly. I didn't really understand. I didn't understand that. And that kind of, it permeates the whole game because now that your whole sort of open world structure and system is based off of this like loot idea and min-maxing, everything else needs to be built to support it. But it also doesn't feel like it is. Like the combat never gets challenging to the point where I feel like I always have to stay on top of my gear. Yeah. You know, if enemies who were on the same level as me were giving me such grief that I'd be like, okay, let me think about my gear, you know, to get an upper hand. Fine. But I can take on enemies like 4 or 5 levels above me. And if I'm just relatively smart with the way I dodge, they're not a problem. Like, yeah, they're a bit spongy because, hey, they have way more health than damage I can deal out, but they're not an issue.
No.
And it almost seems like the game is aware of this because then it starts gating main missions based on your level. And it doesn't even allow you to start a mission if your level is not the same as what it requires, which is very counterintuitive to, I think, modern RPG design, where it will allow you to do it. It like warns you. Like, again, I'm basing a lot of this off of me playing The Witcher, which is an open world game from 2015. Like, I can start a quest that is 10 levels above me. It's like, cool, whatever. You're gonna die, you will probably die. Like, the odds of you dying very high. But, you know, it allows people to do this thing in The Witcher called, I think the community calls it the Death March, where they just like, they take on really, really hard missions and challenges at very low levels to try and complete the game as quickly as possible. And like, that's totally possible. Here, Hogwarts is just like, no, you can't do that. You have to be at this level, which means you have to go and do all the side content. You have to go and do all the stuff that you actually don't want to do to continue the game. And it's just like, why? Like, I don't know. So like the combat initially seemed really fun to me because you're juggling enemies and you're shooting spells at them in the air. But after I unlocked all the spells, it became more cumbersome because you can only equip 4 spells at a time in a single like loadout.
Yeah.
And then as you upgrade your talents, you can unlock additional loadouts. I think there's a maximum of 4. So you can have 16 spells equipped at a time. So firstly, you have more than 16 spells by the end of it. You have like 20 something. So you can never have everything equipped at one time, which is strange. But then also when you're in combat, you constantly have to like hold R2, press a button on the directional pad to change to a different loadout, and then it changes what spells are mapped to your current face buttons at that time. So you have to remember the order of which you've put all the spells in all four layouts, and then you have to kind of like cluster them so that the 4 that you have in each loadout kind of synergize together, which is a relatively fun exercise. Like, I'm like, cool, when I switch to this loadout, I'm going to fire off this combo, or when I switch to this one, I'm going to do that combo. But man, it just makes combat so cumbersome by that point.
It's not fluid.
It's really not fluid. It's like, because you're using the same button to like ready your spells that you are to like change loadouts. So it just feels inorganic. I don't like how it feels at all. And it ultimately ended up making me just stick to like 1 or 2 loadouts as opposed to using all 4. And then on top of it, the enemies never really evolved to the point where I had to change. Like, the enemies you see in the first 10 hours are the enemies you're going to see for the rest of the game. Like spiders, humans, goblins, wild dogs.
Right. Poachers.
And then those little bad monsters that only die when you hit them with fire.
Oh, then like fairy. I think
that's mostly it. You know, you get a few here and there, and there's some bosses that are straight up repeated at times. Like, I played a boss in one main quest line, and then a few hours later I did another one of those because you have to do like 4 of these trials as part of the main story, and the boss in the second one was identical to the one in the first, and identical in the way of they only have 2 attacks. This one only had 2 attacks. I was like, what is going on here?
Well,
I hope that gives context to why I think this game is just fine. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think people are having a good time with it, and that is entirely okay.
I
and
think
people are enjoying the setting and whatever. But I just find this really, it is a lot like a lot of modern open world games, and it's just not interesting. I just don't find it interesting or groundbreaking, or I don't understand why this game is getting the scores that it's getting, put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, people are entitled to their opinion, but I do not understand that at all.
Well, So I'm not done with the game. I'm about 7 or 8 hours in. But I think I agree with you on most of the stuff, only because like I'm not, I haven't been exposed to the game as long as you have. So yeah, to echo what you said, I think they nailed the setting. Like if someone like me who's read the books like countless times over the years, watched the movies, it feels really cool to walk around Hogwarts. And like I've made a point of, I try not to use, like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I'm trying to learn the castle because I want to know what it feels like to know what like how it's laid out. How do I get from A to B without having
how a student would navigate it?
Yeah, how would it? And it's really cool that I can do that because they've really like, for the lack of a better expression, like handcrafted, hand carved this whole hub. It's very cool. But I think also what you mentioned earlier, that's like nail on the head, is that a lot of people playing this game are not, and I use this term not like in a negative way, but like not a hardcore gamer. Like it's somebody who, they game, whatever, but they don't play like Assassin's Creed or a typical open world RPG. So for them, it is like, oh my God, like this is a Harry Potter game. Like I can't believe there's so much content stuffed into it. Wow, they've thought of everything. But when like, this is the only way I can frame it. If this wasn't called Hogwarts Legacy, if this was just it's a wizard open world game. Cool. You get to go to a castle. Like I know we would always compare it to Harry Potter, but just imagine there was no connection to the IP at all. I don't know if it would have reviewed as well,
not at all.
Or if people would have showered it with as much praise. But I think that's why it's getting the high numbers, because like there is a level of nostalgia and love for this franchise from like countless people. Like I'm dying to see what the sales numbers on this are, because I think it's going to be massive. Like
it's going to be gigantic. It's
going to be way bigger than any of us think it will be, because the number of, I mean, you've said it yourself, not on the podcast, but the number of people we've both seen playing this game. Like I didn't even realize you gave two shits about this franchise at all. I know friends who like went out and bought. I'm like, I didn't even know you liked Harry Potter. Like, but I think just because even on that front, just the buzz around the game, like for good or bad, it's got people going like, oh, like there's this open world Hogwarts game. Like, let me try it out. I think it's gonna sell hugely. But yeah. So
no, I think this is going to be a success for Avalanche Studios and Warner Brothers, and that's totally fine.
So I don't know where the story goes, but I'm 100% sure there'll probably be a sequel in some capacity, whether it's the same wizard or same story or another setting. Like I don't see them not following up with a sequel at some point. Maybe not a strictly open world game, but a Hogwarts or a game set in this universe, because they'll go like, oh my God.
I'm pretty sure they're going to follow this up with something. For sure. For sure.
Which so just from my side, like I'm still enjoying the game. But again, I'm only like 7 to 8 hours in, and I've really enjoyed. I mean, even watching Lenska play, just like walking out of Hogwarts and going, oh, I can walk to Hogsmeade. That's really cool. Like,
can you fly a broom yet?
I can't, but I've seen Lenska fly a broom. Yeah. I'm like, it's cool that there's this whole world here. Like it's everything in the book, how I've imagined it, but now I can actually walk through it. Like that's neat.
That part of it is really cool.
Even like I know we can criticize the quest and the mechanics, but I'm still somewhat amazed that having played it now, that they've made it work and that it's a Hogwarts game. Like they've found a way to structure it, because I wouldn't have known like how to do a game like this. Whether it's good or bad, like I know people will get mileage depending on, like we said, if they've played a lot of RPGs or not. But yeah, I'm keen to keep chipping away, and I'll check back in and do I agree with you, or do I go, you mad? This is game of the year content here. But
listen, I've been seeing people say that, and I'm just like,
but again, it's such a thing, and like again, I throw this out. I don't mean to be like an elitist, like, oh, you're not a hardcore gamer, but I'm like, people who I've seen making such comments on, but I don't know, like how many games do you play that you can just throw out like this is game of the year?
But that's also important context to keep in mind, is like we come at it from a space where we are playing. We are in probably the upper 1% of how many games we play compared to the rest of people. And, like as a critic, do you take that into account in your criticism? I don't think you can, because you're still critiquing like the product in question. But it is a good thing to keep in mind for context. Like when people go, why are so many people playing this game? It's like, well, yeah, it makes sense. Like a lot of people don't play a lot of games, and when they see it attached to a high profile property, this is why so many games are coming out attached to properties like Marvel's Avengers or, you know, Harry Potter. And why I think it was Jeff Grubb who said recently on a podcast that shit's going to happen more, because it draws in people like this. That is the hook. You know what I mean? As opposed to an Assassin's Creed, which, it being a mega franchise that it doesn't have that sort of draw anymore. But slap Harry Potter on a game that is quite similar in structure to a lot of modern Assassin's Creeds, and it's suddenly a very big thing again, because it feels novel because of the setting and the way it interprets mechanics.
Well, yeah. In the same vein, that's why we're seeing more gaming-based TV shows. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
The last of like the best example is The Witcher. When that came out, that just put The Witcher through. Not that The Witcher 3 was never on the map, but it put it back on the map.
Yeah, the sales just skyrocketed
whole new
again.
Audience going, oh shit, I can play a game based on. Well, I can play the game that this show's based on, and it's the same for The Last of Us. People watching the show going, oh shit, this is based on a game. I want to play it. I want to see also, what the sales numbers look like now.
I would say the majority of people I've spoken to about The Last of Us do not even know it's based on a game. Like when I say that, I'm like, oh, do you know it's based on a game? They're like, what? Really? It's like no one, like we live in such a weird, like very big, like video games are not this niche in your basement type of thing, you know, bubble anymore. But it's still a bubble.
It's still a
and
bubble,
people exist outside of that bubble. So it's good to keep in mind. And yeah, listen, Hogwarts is almost definitely going to do well commercially.
Oh, yeah.
Critically, it's done well, better than I expected, to be honest.
Same.
But I do think not everyone has to agree on the bar of quality that means, and by the same token, not everyone has to think it's bad. I think it's very average, and that's about it. That's as much as I can say about it. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm happy to be done playing it. That's literally all I can say about it.
My goodness. How many hours do you think you put in, just for interest's sake?
About 30.
Okay. That's I think that's about...
It's a long game. And there's loads more to do. Like I think people can double that number easily.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think 60, 70 is probably the ballpark for doing everything in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, there's a shit ton you can do if you really want to. Is all of that stuff engaging? Your mileage may vary there. I don't think so, but yeah.
Cool. I
think those are the two games.
Hogwarts Legacy. Yep.
There was another game that came out this week that I really want to play, called Wild Hearts.
Oh yeah,
the Monster Hunter thing. It reviewed very well, like very, very well, and it's got some mechanics in there that make me really want to check it out. Like I saw in a lot of reviews, you can build like 3 crates, like a 3x3 crates, and then you automatically run up it, and then you can do like an aerial attack onto an enemy. And I'm like, shit, that looks cool.
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah, I'm very keen to try it, but do I have the time to play another 100-hour Monster Hunter-esque game?
Absolutely.
Also, do I have the time? No. Will I try it and probably get hooked? Probably. I mean, this is me we're talking about.
Should we move on to game releases?
Games out, yes.
So we are looking at, let's look at February 18th up until, I think it's the 24th. Yeah, I am right. February 18th until the 24th. Yeah, that's
quite a big week.
Quite a big week, my God.
It's actually a very big week.
This is a gigantic week. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's fly through this. Ex Natura, Nature Corrupted, PC Early Access, February 20th. First big game for the week, Like a Dragon Ishin.
Nice.
Coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xboxes, February 21st. This is the remaster/remake of Yakuza Ishin from 2013, 2014. But that only released on PS3, PS4, and only in Japan.
I thought it was other than that for some reason, but that makes sense.
Seems to have reviewed well. Some people saying it's slightly dated, but still very, very engaging. So that's cool.
Nice.
Atomic Heart that we spoke about earlier, PC, new gen and old gen consoles, February 21st. Aka PC, consoles, and Switch, February 21st. Another big one for the week, PlayStation VR 2.
Nice.
Which did not review especially well.
Hasn't it? I haven't actually read reviews.
I think the majority of the reviews all agreed that the hardware was incredibly impressive and the visual presentation was really impressive and the way it seamlessly connects to your PlayStation is really good, even though you're still kind of tethered with one cable. The problem that I saw most of them pick up was that there are just no real software reasons to buy this. There are no games that are enticing. The Horizon game is not one of them. There's no killer app. So there's already questions over how long is Sony going to support this because the launch lineup is this lackluster. You know.
Can you play
and especially given its price. It's $550 headset, 12,000 and something rand locally. So that's a lot of fucking money to invest in something, plus the price of a PlayStation 5. And then look at your library and be like, well, what do I play? I do think this headset is really, really cool for people who missed out on PSVR entirely or VR en masse entirely.
Yeah.
Because then you can play things like Tetris Effect and Thumper and Pistol Whip for the first time. And those are still really fun VR games. But it seems VR games haven't come away since then. So if you've played those, there's nothing here for you.
We're actually talking about at the office saying, would it not be a good move from Sony? Like, I know it would be completely unexpected, but if they made their headset compatible with PC, for example.
That's what a lot of people have been saying. And it seems... So there was a modding community that managed to get the first PSVR working on PC. And I think they released a comment on this a week or so ago. And they're like, don't expect this to happen for years. From a third party's perspective, they're like, the way Sony has locked down this thing is just unbelievable. Like they just not even don't think they're going to bother trying.
Sure.
It would make a ton more sense because then you could just plug it in there and play all the Steam VR games you have on Steam. I do not know, and this is part of the problem. It's a very expensive headset that's locked to a platform that Sony could absolutely just decide to shutter whenever they want. And they did exactly that with PSVR. They did not support that thing super well, so there is precedent. I really thought the launch would be better. I really thought, at the very least, Half-Life Alyx would be that is. It's absurd that hasn't been even mentioned. Not like, oh, it's a missing launch, but it's coming a few months later. They have not said a thing about a port of that, and that just is crazy to me. So
because I mean that's like the one VR game.
That is the big VR game that people want to play, and the sort of thing that made me, the Oculus Quest was 100% worth it purely because I got to play that. So yeah,
nice.
I don't know. Hello, cat. Just got this.
What a unit!
Absolute unit. They keep jumping on my desk.
It's funny because I feel like it's an infinite loop. You just keep putting him down.
He keeps jumping back up. He's going to do the exact same thing now. No? Now he's trying a different avenue.
That's so funny. So we had PlayStation VR 2. February 22.
Redemption Reapers, PC and PS4, February 22nd. Blood Bowl 3. I feel like Blood Bowl comes out like all the time, and I feel like it's a Groundhog Day effect. Like, I feel like Blood Bowl 3 came out ages ago, but I guess not. So
maybe it's Blood Bowl 2.
Yeah, who knows? Remorse, The List, February 23rd on Xbox and Switch. Aces and Adventures coming to PC, February 23rd.
Nice.
Company of Heroes 3, PC, also quite a big launch for the week, February 23rd. Octopath Traveler 2, my God, this week.
This game reviewed very well.
Yeah, extremely, extremely well. It's coming out on PC, PS4, PS5, and Switch. There's not a Switch exclusive, actually. The first one was, hey. It only came out on Switch first.
I think it launched on Switch, but then it
came to everything after that, yeah. Clive and Range coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, February 24th. Lootbox Life Plus, PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch, February 24th. Another big one. Wait, hold on.
This is on the list twice.
It's listed twice, yeah, that's weird. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Nintendo Switch. This is a remaster of a 3DS game, I think. Yeah, I'm always down for more Kirby. Hella keen.
Good boy, Kirby.
The Pale Beyond coming to PC, February 24th. Atelier... I know there's a way to say this name. Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. Wow.
That's a name.
Put that on a fucking box. PC, PS4, PS5, and Switch. And then the last one for the week, Kerbal Space Program 2 coming to Steam Early Access on PC, February 20.
Nice.
Cool. The only big thing left for this month is Destiny 2 Lightfall. So
sure, Space
roll on over to March, and we've got Wulong and Resident Evil and stuff.
Nice.
Peppa the Pig or Peppa Pig.
Cool. I'm loving the sass in that tail that I just saw on the screen.
Yeah, I've given up. I'm just trying to avoid him like walking on a keyboard and actually like deleting something, you know. That would not be ideal.
Cool.
You just want love.
Shall we get to
we should get to gaming news. Yes.
What should we headline with this week? Because news was kind of like a little bit mediocre this week.
I guess we should talk about whether or not E3 will happen or not, because Ubisoft seems to not think so, or at least their wording in a Q&A was kind of like strange.
Yeah. So the headline of this article is Ubisoft confirms it will be at E3 if E3 happens. The very strange thing to say for a show happening in June. And
very, very uncommitted from Ubisoft's side as to whether they're going to be at said show.
Yeah, it's like only 3-4 months away. Like I know it's a couple of months, but I imagine the lead time, like you would know yes or no if you're going to be there.
Yeah, you would know absolutely by now. I do know that since this comment, ReadPop, who are the organizers of E3, have come out with a statement and said E3 is definitely happening. So maybe Yves Guillemot was just, I don't know, fucking just having a bad day, or I have no idea why he made this comment, and I know for a fact that people asked him for a follow-up and they just said no comment. So it's like, what? Just clarify that you like made a mistake, or I don't know. Anyway, he on a earnings Q&A call, Yves Guillemot basically said, if E3 happens, we will be there and we'll have lots of things to show. Hooray! That's cool. Ubisoft will be at E3 to show off Skull and Bones again.
Nice. I don't know, this E3... So, I mean, if you guys forgot to go back to, was it a couple of months ago, or was it at the beginning of this year, the big three won't have a presence.
Yeah. I mean, that hasn't happened for a while now.
I know, but it's just like if E3 is going to have this huge comeback, like you need at least a Nintendo or a Xbox or a Sony.
Microsoft will be next door. They'll probably be involved in some capacity, but not having Nintendo there is a weird one. Like their booth was gigantic. And even the very last E3 I attended, which was the last one held in person in 2019, which is insane to think that it was that long ago. Nintendo had a booth there. Like it wasn't as big as previous years, but they had a lot of floor space. That's where I played Silksong for the first time.
You son of a bitch.
I remember coming back from that and I was like, Silksong's probably close to launch. Hey, like I played it and it seems pretty fucking good.
2019.
4 years later, like what the fuck?
That's so far. Please this year, Silksong. Thank you.
Yeah, Jesus. We can only pray. Pray.
But yeah, I suppose Ubisoft will have some stuff to show there. Like you said, Skull and Bones. Cool.
Yeah, Skull and Bones. Maybe. Oh, you know what they could show off there, because that's coming out later this year, I think, is Assassin's Creed Mirage. Like smaller scale, back to basics one, which, cool. Yeah, I'm down for that. They'll probably show off more. Splinter Cell remake, because they are remaking the first one. There's also the new Crew game that they announced that they can show off, I guess. So they have a lot. Maybe they can tease us with Beyond Good and Evil 2 again, pretend that it's still alive.
Just show us the same. We'll just do the same showcase they did in 2019 and call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we move on to Metro sequel?
Yep.
So a Metro Exodus sequel is fully playable already, according to a report by Insider Gaming. This comes from GameSpot reporting on that, I guess. There's a suggestion that a 2024 release date is possible for the Metro Exodus sequel, which is crazy. Yeah, and it seems to be a very similar type of game. Survival, stealth, crafting, all of that. So, yeah.
Nice.
Apparently, in 2019, the author of the book series confirmed that there was a sequel game in development. So this is no real secret. And considering how Exodus was pretty well received, it's not surprising that there would be a sequel. The fun fact, the author of the books is on a wanted list by Russia for criticizing the country's invasion of Ukraine. Cool.
Nice.
4A Games have said that Metro Exodus has sold over 6 million copies, which I think is pretty great for that franchise, considering how niche it is. Yeah.
That's interesting because was Metro Exodus not on Game Pass as well?
I think it still is.
Because then, I don't know if that counts, does that count as the sold stat?
No, I don't think so.
So if not, then shit, that's really good. 6 million copies over and above however many people played on a Game Pass. That's huge for like a double A studio.
It's a great game. Like I really loved 2023 and Last Light, which were completely linear games, and I think they transitioned to open world quite nicely. I think they ran into the sort of same issue that Gears 5 did, or not as bad as Gears 5, but they had these big open world hubs, but not much to do in them. So it was like a open world, so to speak, that only really allowed you to travel from one set piece to another set piece. So it's like, why have the open world at all?
Yeah.
But I think they did enough cool things in each one, and at least each little like biome was different enough that it made it interesting. And the combats and the story were just top notch still.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. Cool. So that's coming soon-ish, I guess.
Want to talk about this Ragnarok nonsense?
Ragnarok, cool. This is
quite interesting, actually. Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok devs weren't aware of overly chatty companions until launch, which I can buy into this because
absolutely.
If you don't know, I think there were some criticisms around. You'll walk into a room and then your sidekick at the time, whether it be Atreus or whoever, be like, "Oh, you got to do this." And you're like, but I haven't even had a chance to.
I literally haven't even looked at the puzzle.
I haven't even looked at the puzzle, and it's telling me. But I can believe this is missed because if you think how many people play test a game versus compared to an entire player base of millions, it might not be obvious. Or even like, I don't know how the actual flow of playtesting works, but I think in isolation you might miss it as well. Unless you're playing the whole game, you'd go, oh, like, listen, Atreus is a bit chatty. Could you just
I think it's when you start going from one puzzle to the next and connecting, like, okay, they are actually really, really fast or very overly chatty with this sort of stuff. If you're playtesting singular puzzles in isolation from one another, the playtester might have just thought, oh, okay, this is how it works. But like, in a sequence,
or the playtester might go like, oh, it's nice that they've left an audio cue for people who might not figure it out.
I agree with you. This is something that I could completely see how it was missed in QA, especially because in development, even with QA, you try and get a lot of like external QA to try and see these issues, because oftentimes when you're working on something so single-mindedly, you fail to see how the wider audience might like interpret or play it or use a thing. So I know in my work, like I will develop something and be so entrenched in how it works, and then immediately a client uses it in a way that is so foreign to me, and I'm like, didn't even think about that.
Didn't think about it, yeah.
And that I don't think game dev studios, even some of the best ones out there, like Sony Santa Monica, are immune to something like that. So
but
it's cool that they came out and said, hey, yeah, we totally missed this.
But this is clearly a problem facing Sony games, because Horizon Forbidden West had the same problem. That's just raining the audio cues, I think.
See, they said here, so who was this?
It was the
Ragnarok's narrative director, Matt Sophos. He basically says that towards the end of a project, contractors start leaving, and we just didn't get it tuned well enough. It didn't get exposed to us really until the game came out. Even when we had playtests, we never saw feedback about the characters talking too much. So they had playtests, they had external people coming in, and no one brought it up. So like, at that point, like, that's not to say it's not an issue. It's just like, in the small subset of people that we got to play the game, they never found it an issue. But in a wider audience, cool.
Shall we touch very quickly on, do you like Civ? If you do, Civilization 7 has been confirmed. One more turn.
Cool.
But also comes with the news that the designer Jake Solomon has departed the studio. You said to me before recording, he's been there for 20 years?
23 years. So he's been there on Civ, on XCOM, on Marvel's Midnight Suns. Jake Solomon is like almost synonymous with Firaxis.
Sure.
So it is strange to see him go. And I just hope that this isn't a direct result of maybe Midnight Suns not hitting the sort of performance metrics that Take-Two expected. So, yeah. Basically, in his statement, he said, I'm the luckiest kid who ever lived. XCOM was my favorite game growing up. It's why I'm a game developer. Marvel Comics made me a dreamer, and those characters feel like an extended family. So he got to work on the things that he loved, and I guess you can't ask for much more than that in a career, especially one that is 23 years long.
Yeah. I wonder where
Firaxis goes from here.
But even for him, like, is he out of game dev, or is he going to start his own studio? Is he going to join somewhere else? A lot of these things happen, and these people end up just starting their own studio or doing something.
Yeah. Be interesting to see.
Shall we go to this bit of news? Microsoft seeks to explain its own admission that Xbox Game Pass lowers base game sales. I don't know. I briefly saw this week. Microsoft admitted that its internal analysis shows a redacted % decline in base game sales 12 months following their addition on Game Pass. I mean,
so I think a lot of this is hinging on something that Phil Spencer said almost 5 years ago now. So at the time, he was talking about Forza Horizon 4 coming to Game Pass, which ultimately led to increased sales of the game, not fewer. Now, he was talking within a very specific window, like at launch. So this was the quote, like, to not mince words. When you put a game like Forza 4 on Game Pass, Forza Horizon 4 on Game Pass, you instantly have more players of the game, which is actually leading to more sales of the game. You say, well, isn't everyone just going to subscribe for $10 and go play the thing? But no, gamers find things to play based on what everyone else is playing. So as Eurogamer points out here, Spencer is not talking about in-game sales or overall revenue. He's just talking about game sales being boosted by the inclusion in Game Pass purely because people are playing a thing and they're talking to other people and being like, you should play this thing, or my friends are playing this, so hey, I'm going to buy it and play it. Now, he's talking about at launch, which is definitely possible. When extrapolated over 12 months, that probably doesn't at all like check out. And especially so now that when he was talking about Game Pass in 2018, Game Pass was a lot smaller. It was still very much, it was probably sub 10 million subscribers. They're at over 30 million now. So the odds of people buying a game and not still being subscribed to Game Pass are much, much lower when you consider the install base of Xbox games and not counting PC.
Yeah.
But I think Microsoft said this. Basically, it says here in the Eurogamer story, Microsoft does not dispute its claim to the CMA that Xbox Game Pass leads to fewer sales of a game, but says its subscription remains an attractive option for developers seeking to release the game within it. Now, that's the important part, because the developers are the ones who are actually loving this.
Yeah.
There is a publisher called No More Robots, I think, and their lead, I think his name is Mike something, I've forgotten now. Mike.
His surname's something.
Mike Rose. He's very vocal about Game Pass because all of the games they have launched as a publisher have launched on Game Pass, and he says it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
He basically says the sort of financial security you get up front offsets the potential of any lost sales tenfold.
Yeah, and it puts you on the map.
I think that's maybe not true for all developers, but I think if you're designing a game with that in mind, this is X amount we're going to get from Game Pass for putting it there day one. This is what our development costs are. These are our projected sales. Let's make this balance.
Yeah.
Then I think it definitely works. His latest tweet, which was in direct response to these articles, was, all I can say is we're aiming to get every single title we publish from now on onto Game Pass. In doing so, we'll secure success for each title and relieve immense pressure for the developers. But please, gamers, continue to explain why it's bad for us.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I think the people that are in the system would know better. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
So, I do think it is definitely, you're looking at a trade-off between raw sales and player numbers, but if the money Microsoft is offering developers makes sense, then sure, that makes sense. And I think it makes more sense for smaller games than, AAA ones. And at the end of the day, I think Microsoft is more concerned with getting people on Game Pass on a subscription as opposed to one single $60 sale. And that is the subscription model. It's always been that. So,
I mean, and the subscriber numbers are only going up as far as I know.
But it could also explain why Sony's so terrified of this.
Yeah.
Because they are just the math on their end doesn't balance. They just, the money they spend on a game like God of War, and they see, okay, well, if we put out a tier of PS Plus that is $10 and we have way more consoles out there, way more people willing to pay their subscription, we'll probably hit 40, 50,000 subscribers pretty quickly. But the sales of something like a God of War that sells 12 million copies in the first week absolutely plummets.
Exactly.
Whereas a Forza Horizon doesn't sell that in its first week anyway. So, yeah.
It's interesting.
Interesting times.
I didn't have this on my list, but no, you added it. Valheim gets a March release date.
Yeah, it's coming to Game Pass and Xbox.
I thought this game was out.
It is out on PC.
Oh, on PC. Okay. Oh, so it's coming to console now.
Yeah, it came out on PC in 2021.
I love this. Bjorn again.
Yeah. This is a game I think you would actually quite enjoy, because it's it's the survival crafting of the forest, all grounded, but with more structure, almost again like grounded, definite objectives to kind of follow. These are bosses in the world that you should go and defeat and stuff like that. So
I think so.
Yeah. Apparently, I played it a little bit. It was quite fun.
This is the Norse game, right? Valheim.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, quick sidebar. Isn't Sons of the Forest out soon?
No.
Sequel? Did it get delayed? Because it was meant to come out.
It was meant to come out in March.
Yeah.
But they've changed it now to an early access launch.
Oh, okay. Well, still keen to play that. Cool. So Valheim it's got a March release date on Xbox Series XS and Game Pass. Nice. Quick last bits of news. Valentine's Day was this week. I just threw this in here for fun because there was an Overwatch 2 dating sim. I had a quick read. It wasn't in the game itself. I think it was a separate app or browser-based thing.
Loverwatch, Love Never Dies.
Called Loverwatch, starring Mercy and Hanzo, looking real cute in this dating sim. I don't know if it's still up, but If you want to romance Genji or Mercy, now's your time to shine.
My goodness. That's so cute.
I do appreciate, like, I think Overwatch gets a bad rap, like, I guess rightfully so, because their seasonal content has been very stale. You know, like every year you're going to get Lucio Ball, and every year you're going to get Junkenstein. Like, it's never been different. Are they
still doing Lucio Ball?
I'm pretty sure it's a yearly annual thing. So to see like, oh, here's something different, that's cool. Like, I like that.
Oh, the game is still live, by the way. I just went to the website, and because it's like an embedded thing, you just play it on the website, and it's definitely still there.
Who are you gonna romance?
Don't know. It's a personal question, Matthew.
Fine. And then in last bits of, I guess, Nintendo E news, there's the Tetris movie coming out.
Yo.
This trailer dropped this week. And this, you gave me very brief, oh my God, where did your picture go? You gone.
Oh no.
There you are. This details how Tetris was taken out of Russia.
Essentially, It follows a Dutch publisher. I can't recall his name now. Essentially trying to get the game sold globally, which eventually puts him on the doorstep of Nintendo and very much in the crosshairs of the Russian government during the Cold War as he tries to smuggle the game and its developer like out of the country. So yeah, it's cool. The movie looks like a Cold War thriller almost, which is quite fascinating. If you're watching the video, there's a shot of Howard Lincoln, the old president of Nintendo America, showing off the first Game Boy. I think it's cool. I think it looks really, really fun. It's a crazy story, this, for Tetris. And I mean, Tetris, as you know, is, I would say, part of the reason why the Game Boy sold what it did. It was a global phenomenon.
But is it not
and still is today?
I think Tetris is not like the best-selling game or
of all time.
Something. It's like it's definitely up there because it's on.
It's a phenomenal game still today. I think there's just so much depth to that game. So that's out on Apple TV in like the end of March, I think, and I think it's going to be at cinemas as well. So that looks fun.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm keen to watch that. And then last piece of news for this week. Do you like Nintendo? When are we? When are we hitting a Super Nintendo World?
Jesus, how much money do you have?
So how much money do you have? So if you didn't know, Super Nintendo World is a theme park that has
the second one now.
Is it the second one? Yeah. So there's one
in Japan.
Japan, yeah, and this one is now opened in the States. It opened last week or this week. I'd love to go. Shit, I would kill to do, look at these rides, these Mario Kart racing.
Mario Kart with like a VR headset on it. It looks so sick. Yeah. And just like lots of cool themed stuff around the park. Lots of cool themed beverages and food and all of that. So
it's like a proper
this is at Universal. We've actually been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now we gotta go back. E3 2024. Let's go.
I'm down.
I know Darren is hankering to go to E3 and hit this park after. Take us with you, Darren. Win that Powerball and take us with you.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm ready. Cool.
That's all the news.
That's all the news for this week.
Moving on to questions. If you would like to send us a question, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find us at Checkpoint Chat on all of our social channels. What is on the docket?
Basically, all of the patterns. We actually have 2 questions today. So, number 1, we got a question from, I'll pull it up, good guy at Jared Bra on Twitter. Who writes, "Hey guys, great to be listening to y'all in 2023. Oh,
Love to see it.
Nice to have you listening. What game was recommended to you by someone that you struggled with or didn't enjoy? I took your guys' recommendation for Tunic, which is a great game, thanks, but struggled and gave up at the Ghost multi-boss arena thing. Have a lovely weekend." Yeah, also
Ghost multi-boss.
I did the exact thing. I'm like, which part of the game was that? I don't remember that. So I wonder, has there been content?
Is he talking
added?
about the literal end?
Maybe. Do you think? No, because there's two endings, right? And the one, the hard boss is like the special ending. You got to do a whole lot of shit to fight it, right?
But that's the multi-phase one.
I don't know.
You fight it like 3 times, and it's like the ghost.
Okay, Jared, you have to tell us.
Yeah, because that sounds like you're literally
how
at
many
the
hours
end. Like
into this game are you?
That's the only ghost multi-phase thing I can think about, or multi-ghost.
Because there's a couple of bosses. I don't
remember anything.
Tunic, one of our most lauded games of last year. We can't remember shit about it.
You're saying that, and I'm trying to think of all the bosses, and I can think of big robot thing.
Garden Knight.
Yeah, the Garden Knight. Wasn't there a bird?
There was a bird.
Or am I conflating it with Death's Door now?
Maybe. It's the same game. I mean, come on. Well, to get back to the question, what game was recommended to you by someone that you struggled with or did not enjoy? I'll come out and say that I do not have an answer for this, but mostly because I'm a very fussy person when it comes to games and movies and series, and I like very, very carefully nitpick what I want to play. Like I give it a lot of thought. And I've had it where I don't think I've ever had it where I've played something and gone like, oh man, what a waste of my time. The best example I can give though is that I had a friend for years. He's like, you just got to play Dark Souls. You will love this game. And I was like, I probably would. I just no desire to play it, no time, no whatever. And look at me now. Eventually I got into that franchise and he was right. Dark Souls is some good crack. So I don't know. Do you have any games recommended to you?
So I'd say like 2. So one of them would be like the Yakuza series. I don't not enjoy them. I just don't think I enjoy them as much as the people who really love them do. Like I'm still playing through Yakuza 0, but I don't feel as captivated as I think I should be. Or maybe I'm just expecting something greater than what it really is. But I don't dislike it, and I still like kind of want to get to it and finish playing it. I think the other big one, which is not so much as someone specifically recommended it to me as it was like everyone in the world was recommending it. And that's well, definitely no. Skyrim. I remember at the time I had never played an Elder Scrolls. I knew of Oblivion, but I'd never played it. And then Skyrim is coming out and everyone's like, this is going to be the second coming of RPGs. And I actively dislike that game. Like, I just think it's boring. And I just don't get it.
Well, that's a fun fact is that I myself have never even touched Skyrim ever.
Funnily enough, I was speaking to Jeff and he asked me this week, he's like, did you enjoy Skyrim? And I was like, that's a random question, but I was like, no, not really. He's like, Hogwarts Legacy is like Skyrim, but Harry Potter. So I was like, that makes sense. Yeah. I actually, 100%.
That is 100%. Hilarious.
It is Skyrim, Harry Potter, except without the good side quests. So
amazing. Yeah. I listened to a podcast. Have you heard of Lex Friedman?
Yes, I have. So through people at work, yeah.
So he interviewed Todd Howard actually on an episode. So it was recommended to me by good pal John Michael, and he said, yeah, like our boy Todd was on Lex Friedman. You know, it's very interesting. Yeah, we love memeing on Todd Howard just because he's Todd Howard and he says like the most absurd shit. But yeah, so I listened to that interview and it's like very long. I think it was an hour and a half, 2 hours, but just very interesting to hear, you know, Todd Howard speak about how, you know, his career making games. And I was like, shit, like I should play Skyrim because it is this, you know, this milestone in gaming. Maybe not for you, but for a lot of people going like, shit, Skyrim is like...
I'm 100% an outlier in that
and
regard.
I'm like, the only way I could play Skyrim on PC or Game Pass for dirt cheap, but the only way I'll actually finish Skyrim is on the Switch because it exists on the Switch. But it is still like 1,200 Rand.
Oh, fuck that. No way. So I'm like, don't pay that. Skyrim wasn't that when it came out. Like, no, that's inflation.
So I'm like, I need to, like, it's a sort of thing I need to keep an eye out for a sale, or like even a physical copy, maybe Take-A-Lot or Cash Converters will have like a dirt cheap copy and then I'll pick it up. You know, I'm not going to pay that price for a game that is that old
that's obscene. I would not. No.
Yeah, but it's funny because I think it runs like a dream on Switch purely because it was a last gen game.
As hell, yeah. Super
so it'll look like
it's funny
absolutely
enough, on
fine
PS3,
on the Switch.
It ran like trash on PS3.
Good.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I thought I have to play that before Starfield just to because I've played Fallout 3 and I've played
Did you play 4?
I never played 4. I played
4 sucked.
I played a bit of Skyrim back in the day and I enjoyed them. So I don't know. I mean,
I've always found
Skyrim,
it odd.
Oblivion.
I've always found it odd that I love Fallout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, but Skyrim doesn't click with me because they are the same game. They're literally the same game.
You know that I never finished Fallout 3. And I'll tell you why. I played it. So good. I was so into Fallout 3 and I played it and I did all the side shit until I hit the level cap and I stopped playing.
You're just like
a much younger me was like, a much younger me was like, I've got nothing to grind for anymore.
It had such good DLC at the time as well, like expansions, like it's so good.
But I remember hitting that level, like I distinctly remember hitting that level cap and just being like, I can't go higher than this, and I just stopped playing.
You missed out because the end of that game is bonkers. It's really bonkers. It goes so off the rails in the most spectacular way.
But it also just shows that I must have put a shit ton of time into that game.
Yeah, you must have put tons of time into it to do that. Holy shit.
I don't know.
You must show John Michael the very awkward photo I have with Todd Howard.
Oh, you must send it.
It was the very first E3. I ran into Todd Howard as he was leaving the Xbox booth and asked if I could take a photo. And I have this photo where I've got like my arm around him, but I'm not touching him.
That's Photoshop.
It's so awkward.
Don't tell me otherwise.
It's so awkward.
We actually have, another question popped up on Instagram from Mrs. Very Angry, who asks, do you guys still play Marvel Snap?
I've tapered off, eh?
I haven't. I'm still there.
It's mostly because of just time. I just haven't had the time. But I'm also kind of getting bored of my deck, and I don't really know what to do about it. So,
what deck are you playing?
I'm still playing a Wong deck.
Oh no, okay. I did the same. You gotta branch out because I was just like this deck's great, but like I'm a bit over it. So I built a destroy deck and a Patriot deck. I'm sure you've seen these in the wild. And the Patriot deck it took me to, I'm not hitting infinity rank here, but it took me to rank 50 last season, which I was like, damn, it was a grind, but I got here. And it is a lot of fun to play. I don't know when I should play it. Wolverine got a buff, man, making him slightly more viable in destroy decks or discard decks.
I was playing a destroy deck before the Wong deck with like a Carnage and a Wolverine and that I got bored of. That's why I moved to Wong. But if he's been buffed,
if you have Patriots and Mystique and Onslaughts.
I do.
That deck is real strong.
Because the Wong deck I find very fun when I draw the cards I do. But when I don't, boy, there's fuck all you can do with that deck.
I'm gonna send you my Patriot deck. It's pretty versatile.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still playing, definitely.
Oh, the new season started like a week or so ago, didn't it? Or
yeah,
I had a friend at work who got to infinity rank.
Wow, I can't believe this. And then last question, just in time because we've got 15 minutes before my power goes. From good pal Cello, who's actually in South Africa, played some CS last night. Was a good time. Who asks, if you had to be eaten alive by an animal, what animal would it be?
Go fucking back to wherever you came from, Jello. Jesus.
Go back to South Korea, you.
Go back to South Korea. Go back to North Korea.
Oh
God damn it.
See, this is a tricky question because, you have to... You're going to die.
Is it a single animal or numerous?
It doesn't specify.
Okay. I don't think that actually makes a difference thinking about it.
What are you looking to get eaten by?
Numerous might just make it faster.
Like, what animal would actually kill you
quickly
in like a not so painful way?
Probably a lion.
I don't know. I have visions of a lion like mangling my leg and then my arm, and I'm
they go. I mean, if you're running away, sure, but they go for the jugular. They don't fuck around. Yeah, a wild dog would be the worst because they will eat you alive, literally. Yeah.
So I was thinking like I wouldn't really want to die to a snake, but is there a snake that poisons you and just makes you like, just numbs you? It's like, I can't feel anything. Or
is it like a slow, like painful? Yeah, I don't know, actually. A snake or like a scorpion thing. Could I say a bee? But I'm not allergic to bees. Then it'll just go into anaphylactic shock like really quickly.
Oh my goodness. So is this the condition? Like it'll be a bee, but I have to be allergic to bees. Yeah,
I mean, I think that would be pretty fast.
It could be a swarm of bees and they just sting you to death.
Jesus, that will not be fun. That will not be fun.
What if we have a middle ground and I say I go for a swim and I get what animal would like drown me? Because apparently drowning.
What animal would drown you? Like just come up and like shove your head underwater?
Maybe like if it's a crocodile, for example, or like I've watched Anaconda. Okay, if I'm just being constricted and suffocating, maybe it's not so painful. I don't know. Because apparently, I don't know where the source for this comes from, but apparently drowning is like a not so
the
painful.
worst death.
No, apparently not. It's burning.
I've heard it's the worst death in the world.
Drowning.
Yeah, because you're completely aware. Like you can feel all the water going into your lungs, and I've read it's not pleasant. I mean, but I'm not going to say it's worse than burning. That sounds absolutely abhorrent. Like, no, burning sounds awful. Like, yeah,
I hate this question.
I've heard drowning's not a great time.
Shit, I don't know.
I would like to die from a dog who hand delivers me 10 sleeping pills on a platter and then makes me swallow them.
This is awfully specific. I'd like to be killed by an army of cats cuddling me.
Yeah, they actually just suffocate you very slowly. They suffocate
you. I can't breathe, but it's so cozy.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Or like all those videos where people lie on the floor and they get like 20 Labrador puppies to like stampede on them. That's a good way to go.
My goodness, yeah. I choose that, but with kittens.
But if I want to be serious, I don't know. Fucking, I think I'd still go for like a lion because that'd probably kill me quite quickly. So and that's all I'd want at that point. If I have to choose death, then
I don't know. There's still that initial thing of the panic.
I'm not going to run away. I'm just going to fucking stand there, just be like, come at me.
You say that until you see this absolute unit of a lion sprinting towards you. Go, oh shit.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, fucking hell. I don't want to see that.
My goodness.
When you were talking about water animals, I was thinking of a hippo, but I don't think that's a great time either.
I think a hippo will fuck your shit.
Hippos kill a lot of people. Yeah. They're like the most deadly animal in Africa. It's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Just trample you to death. And have you seen them teeth?
They're
like a punch card in your leg.
Chilla, tell us what animal you would choose to.
I bet it's going to be some dumb answer.
It's going to be like an obvious. This unique. Oh my god, a spider that bites you and kills. No, thank you. No.
Do you know what wouldn't be a good one? Is like a gorilla.
Oh no,
because they like rip your arms off.
No. No, thank you. But
didn't we have this question? Like, who would win in a fight between a gorilla and an orangutan?
I think we've had similar questions.
Oh my God.
Trust Chilla to just come out and
I swear that was a Chilla thing, and I think he didn't like our answer.
So I not like these answers either. But that is all the questions for this week. We've got 10 minutes to spare. We made it.
We made it, which means this has been another great episode of Checkpoint Chat, episode 214, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. And thank you so much for waiting just ever so slightly so that we could talk about Atomic Heart.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope you have a lovely week. I hope the weather stays nice and pleasantly temperate.
Chilly.
Much to Matty's dismay.
I don't mind it. It's just it's been rainy for too long now.
Okay. Go run in the rain.
Oh, well. Watch me.
Have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for all the support. And we will see you next time. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.